Welcome to the State Farm Center on the campus of the University of Illinois in Champaign-Urbana. We get ready to tip off between the University of Wisconsin Whitewater men's team and the University of Alabama men's team as they vie for the national championship here today.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's do the introduction.
We'll be quiet now as we listen to the introduction.
Starting with the number 2 seeded team, the University of Alabama. Number 2, Abraham Osman-Weiss. Number 3, Lindy Bridges. Number 4, James Cook. Number 11, Jordan Bartley. Number 14, Ignacio Ortega. Number 15, Ryan Jansen. Number 22, DeQuell Robinson. Number 23, Spencer Kimbrough. Number 24, Michael Aldritz. Number 44, Anthony Harris. Number 34, Ryan Morris. And number 32, Rashad Bennett. The Alabama Crimson Tide is led by fifth year Ford Bertram. And now for the number 1 seed, University of Wisconsin Whitewater. Number 4, Colin Evans. Number 5, Dylan Fishbach. Number 11, Talon Jordan. Number 12, Jake Schaefer. Number 14, Drew Sells. Number 21, Micah Spring. Number 23, Ryan Klatchik. Number 24, Jonathan Land. Number 33, Brian Wolford. Number 42, Christian Seidel. And number 44, Brian Nelson. Leading the Warhawks in his 11th season is Jeremy Ovilati. Let's get ready for some championship wheelchair basketball.
So I'm Mike Frog, and next to me, the head coach from the University of Illinois women's team and Paralympic gold medalist, Steph Wheeler. Got to get your plugs in there, Steph. So you've seen both these teams a lot more than I have. I've really seen them a little bit during the season and this weekend. What are your initial thoughts on what each team is going to have to do today?
I think for Alabama, one of the things they're going to look to do is probably try to establish their inside game with Offren and Ortega. They have two pretty good height. They also have DeQuell DQ, who's got some speed that can create some mismatches, I think, for Whitewater. For Whitewater, they've got that inside-outside attack with Dylan Fishbach behind the three-point line, being able to pull the defense out. It'll let Brian Wolford try to get in the key. So it'll be interesting to see which team takes away the other's strengths and which team can then impose their will offensively off of that.
Yeah, it was interesting yesterday. I thought that one of the things that Whitewater was really able to get in early in possessions, their offensive transition helped get them to the basket. That's how Wolford got in. He didn't get in as effectively later in possessions. That's where Fishbach came in, and he was shooting for sure yesterday. Right, I think he started shooting from the parking lot, actually.
Hey, when you've got range like that, it's easy to create some space for your teammates and give them time to work. We can see here straight away what Alabama's trying to do is create a little bit of a mismatch on the inside right off the tip. They feel comfortable that they're going to get the tip. Got a shot right away from DQ.
2 points, DeQuell Robinson.
It'll be interesting to see if he can get himself going early. He's the type of player who, if he can get on a roll and see some shots go in early, he might have a good game for them.
Evans did a really nice job sealing Wolford in. You can't just be focused on the big guy. You've got to see that little sealer.
So one of the things that you'll see out of Alabama is they're going to try to do a good job of isolating their bigs and bigger players on some of the lower class, they're smaller players of Whitewater. There you see DQ again, getting loose for a shot.
Yeah, Whitewater starting really packed in, committing to stopping that interior game with the big guys you were talking about.
Leaving that little jumper open for DQ. Got an inside shot there again from Alabama with Ignacio Ortega. There we see Dylan Fishbach lining up for a three.
Fishbach for three.
Yeah, one of the things yesterday that we saw is he really looked to take that three early in possessions. That was his preference, to catch the back of the defender in transition.
A lot of time in transition, those defenders are worried about stopping their bigs getting inside, and they forget about that outside shooter. You see Alabama now come back, though, trying to establish their inside presence with Ortega. Again, you see Fishbach line up for that three. Something where Alabama's going to have to come outside the three-point line more than just the chair length to be able to take that away from him.
Yeah, they have to commit to stopping him literally up here, almost at half, and then having their help defender. They got to get Dylan inside the three-point line.
Exactly. You can see again, Whitewater's packing their defense inside, really trying to take away that inside game from Alabama. Got a power side here with Prince and Ortega. Nice outside shot by Prince.
Yeah, I think Whitewater's going to be content to see Prince take that long two and play the percentages on that throughout the game.
Didn't even really put any pressure on him out there.
Dylan Fishbach for three.
There we go, Fishbach's heating up. Alabama's really going to have to understand how to shift their defense to take away that early three.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see if Alabama could extend their defense, not all the way, but extend it up literally almost to half court and start their teacup out of that.
Force Whitewater to run a pick and roll off of that and not just let them come down and take a shot.
Yeah, Whitewater committing to stop the interior game.
Let's see how if Alabama adjusts. There we go, we see Kimbrough trying to come out a little bit and take that three-point shot away from Fishbach. Let's see what Whitewater is going to do now further along into their offense that they're going to look to generate.
Stays Warhawks basketball.
7 seconds on the shot clock.
So one of the things that's interesting is so Alabama could almost have one of their lower class players, 22.
Warhawks call timeout.
Kimbrough, 23.
23, Kimbrough, extend on Fishbach because he's not really attacking them, especially when he's got the ball. He doesn't have those on-ball attack skills. And if Whitewater's not going to come out and pick for him, that'd be a really easy way to neutralize Fishbach and still have functional advantage elsewhere on the floor. Yeah, that was something yesterday that Whitewater didn't have to address. It'll be interesting to see if Alabama does that. Use that, like you said, use that class one to guard Dylan Fishbach way out on the court.
Almost exactly where Kimbrough picked him up here, about at the State Farm Center side.
And Dylan does a great job keeping space up there. As soon as he gets inside the three-point line, he loses that space a little bit.
Absolutely. The big thing they're going to have to do is bring somebody up with that picker. Whitewater will make the adjustment to come up and pick for Dylan. Alabama's going to conversely have to bring somebody up to help guard Dylan once he uses that pick and roll.
The pass a little bit long by Alabama. Yep, here's the adjustment.
Instead of bringing the class one, they've brought DQ up. Well, now what
here's the other advantage of this.
Exactly. What Alabama's going to look to do off of that, now you get that early pressure on Dylan. It allows you to have a leak going out early for that fast break layup.
Yeah, because Dylan, as he drives past Fishbach, is the balance for Whitewater. different than yesterday. Alabama has the height to match up with the Whitewater big guys inside.
DQ able to get inside again. Couldn't hit the layup this time though. Now they're bringing 2 defenders out to Fishbox.
Christian Seidel going in the line to shoot
So it's
2.
really interesting. So Dylan Fishback, once he gets inside the 3-point line, you know, he's not a super tall guy.
James Cook.
And now they're getting some ball pressure on him. They're contesting some of those passes. He's not seeing the offside quite as well as he sees his 3.
Exactly. They look to get the ball inside there to Seidel. This last time he was fouled at the line for 2 shots. The foul was on James Cook, his first.
So nice adjustment by Alabama, extending pressure, getting Dylan Fishback inside. Now the other thing they got to do, make sure they defend off ball and keep the big guys out. Seals first, stop the sealer first.
Again, you see Operance looking for that mismatch there on shorter player from Whitewater. They didn't get the ball in rotation. You have a guy as tall as Operance, and he's got that mismatch on someone who's significantly shorter. Really want to take advantage of that mismatch. Again, we see coming up to pick for Fishbox behind the 3-point line. No defender coming up. Fishbox got a wide open look then to that 3-pointer.
Yeah, you can't even bump that picker like you normally would. You just got to go right past them and actually make Fishback try to dump it to that pick and roll guy.
We see a baseline steal now to get inside for Ortega. Fouls on the floor.
Foul on the ground.
Yeah, great seal by
Excellent
Cook.
seal.
And much better patience.
Foul on Christian Seidel. His first, team first.
Again, Whitewater looks content to be able to let Operance take that outside shot.
They did a nice job actually creating that scoring opportunity for Operance, and it's a lower percentage opportunity. Much better job slipping that pick and jumping out quick. So he couldn't complete his turn and square before the shot.
DQ pull up for a 3. So again, the Alabama defense stopping above the 3-point line now. 1 chair length above the 3-point line.
So for Alabama, Whitewater's packed in. You've got to be able to create space when a team's packed in. And that means you're going to have to move those defenders.
Timeout.
One defender to create a gap, attack a gap, and then it's the gap after that that opens up. So you got to be a little bit more patient because it doesn't look like Whitewater's going to come out.
Right.
They're showing a lot of discipline
Exactly.
in that respect.
At that moment in time, if you have Operance there behind that screen, have him come out from behind that screen, either high or low into wherever that space is. That'll create that lane that you're talking about to be able to cut into that first or second read.
And offside of that, it's going to be attacking what I'll call a small gap to create the larger gap. That's what results in your off-ball opening for a seal or a cut for one of those big guys. So you have to understand you don't get in on the first try offside. You get in on the second try.
Right. And you have your ball handler on the offside being patient and understanding what's going to open up hopefully off of that.
The HCC, so Opie, Jeremy Lottie for Whitewater, now he's got to make a little bit of adjustment. He's got that defender coming up high. They've got to identify that pick and roll, set that pick, stick that pick, create space out of that, and then be patient to work offside. They're a little bit impatient right now, so everything's all congested. And Dylan needs to stop. He can't roll into the defense when he gets inside the 2-point line. He's got to pause, make the defense come back out to him, and that's another way to create space for his teammates, his bigger teammates like Wolford, to get in the key off of the seals.
Exactly. So now when you see Alabama adjusting their defense, it's more than likely now it's going to be Dylan's job to facilitate to get his teammates involved.
Little confusion here. Both teams playing defense. I know both, Ford
I like
and
that.
Opie
I like it.
are happy that they are defensive minded first and foremost.
I love that. You see Alabama's committing 3 people now to the power side that Whitewater's running.
Stays Warhawks basketball.
Wolford did a good job setting the pick and sticking it, but the offside couldn't identify.
So they go right over to that offside.
Evans for 2.
Yeah, I think Alabama will be content to have Evans shoot that shot.
Absolutely. So you see Whitewater sagging their defense to take away those initial cuts from Alabama. Now Alabama has to come back out and reset their offense. That mismatch with Offense and Schaefer.
And there's DQ coming out low behind that screen, pulling that defender out, creating that mismatch for Prince.
See, they've got Fishbach just inside the 3-point line there. Be aware of coming back out for the reset. He does a really great job of coming back out and getting that quick reset to get his shot off. Again, Whitewater takes away the initial cuts from Alabama. Once again, trying to go to that mismatch with Offense on the offside.
Warhawks basketball.
Whitewater's done a really nice job initially of taking away the strength of Alabama, which is trying to get inside with Ortega and with Offense.
Colin Evans for 2.
So nice job by Alabama. So you always talk about how do you create space against a team that's packing it in. One of the ways you do that, backpin. Take one of those defenders out, and that opens up just a little bit more space. They did that, and that's what creates that extra bit of space to let a big guy get to the heat. Now they still have to attack up court and they have to do it properly, but it does give them a better opportunity.
Exactly.
First one is good.
Nice offensive rebounds there. Again, able to get it back out to Offense for that mismatch.
With the putback.
Got to box out. So
Absolutely.
you watch the Whitewater defenders, they push straight in the key instead of coming in at an angle and boxing out. And let the big guys from Alabama get a good offensive rebound and
Turns
putback.
into a 3-point play for them. Offside, Brian Wofford gets in. Awesome offside action. Again, when you have that attention focused over on the outside shooter, like you've been saying, it's so important to keep attacking on that offside. You see Bama trying to backpick a little bit in transition there to create that space that they need.
Foul on the shot. James Cook going the line for 2. That is on Dylan Fishbach. That is his second, team's 3rd.
That's a second foul there on Fishbach. As a coach, when you have your best shooter get a second foul kind of halfway through the first half, what's your strategy with that?
First thing, you've got to know your player. You've got to know, is this a player that has enough self-control to be able to make the adjustments and not reach, or is it a player that this is going to be, they don't have that kind of self-control. You need to sub them out and give them that break.
Looks like Opie trusts his players and understands that Fishbach can have that self-control. We don't see a sub coming in for him.
Stays Warhawk basketball.
So you can see again, like you said, Alabama committing to be all the way out on Fishbach, willing to give up a pick and roll.
Absolutely. Got an offensive foul here. So what you saw Alabama do is be content to give up that pick and roll and know that they have help defense rotating over in Ortega who can take away those lanes without having to commit immediately to the first person rolling.
The length of those big guys from Alabama, that lets them play a person plus a passing lane at the same time.
Can cover a lot of space. Early pick and roll attempt here by Alabama. Going to bring it out to try to recreate some space. It seems like Alabama is getting a little bit frantic in their offense.
They've got
if
more
that first
time.
pick and roll doesn't work, they can take their time a little bit more offensively and really look to get the ball to where their strengths are.
And there's the shot that Alabama wants. They want
exactly
Evans
what they want to create.
Take the jumper from outside.
Absolutely. And what that also allows Alabama now to do is get some momentum in transition where you can get someone like DQ,
Robinson,
and
who's an
the back
incredible
pick.
athlete, to work one-on-one in the full court, and the back pick. Doesn't give Whitewater time to get back and get their defense set. So see, Alabama's committing 2 defenders to Fishbach outside. Sedell's able to get inside for 2.
Christian Seidel for 2.
There's that gap at the elbow. And Alabama not able to recognize an attack. They got caught sitting.
I think if you look offside with Ortega and Cook, they have a pretty good speed advantage on that side to be able to work their seal game. You're going to see Fishbach now.
for 3.
They're back down in transition for another 3.
Timeout, Alabama.
We have a score 26-18 right now in favor of Whitewater.
So, if you're coach, if you're Ford right now, Bertrand from Alabama, what are you saying to your team at this particular point?
Well, I think offside, they need a bit more movement and a bit more urgency to attack. When you have your class 1 and Ortega offside, you have Ortega pulled out behind the screen, and he's not really able to do much out there other than take a shot. And I think they had Colin Evans and maybe another big over there guarding them. You can put Ortega in that dive and have them run a steal game where it at least gets those defenders having to guard 2 over there. And then what you have offside is your 3-on-3 game. And hopefully you can either draw a help defender over there or you're getting somebody in off the steal side.
It's a 3-on-3.
More movement.
It's a 3-on-3 off-ball game, and you've got the time. With a 30-second shot clock, these guys have the time. They need to use that and not rush and try to score in the first half of the shot clock, but we're willing to work to the second half of the shot clock.
We have a 3-second call
3
here on
seconds in the
Ortega.
key. Warhawks basketball.
The coach, that's really not what you want coming out of a timeout, coming back down on offense.
Well, I think Ford's sitting over there right now going, I just wasted 60 seconds of my life.
Absolutely. I think all of us coaches have been there before, though. You see them extending their defense out now hard on Fishbach, forcing them to run that pick and roll. Make sure you box that off of that. You're creating the shot that you want. You've got pressure on Sedell, so make sure you box him out now. Good idea. Great pick there by Walker.
So if I'm Dylan Fishbach right now, I'm Opie from Illinois. What I'm going to actually want to do, I think I'm actually going to want to stop Dylan higher. If they're going to come that far out, let's run our pick and roll higher, and let's almost run it like a back pick, you know, as opposed to push it in and run it just inside the three-point line. Stretch it even farther out.
The foul here on Jake
Fouls
Schaefer.
on the floor in the act of shooting.
Offense is going to go to the line for 2.
So the challenge here for Dylan Fishbach will be setting up that Alabama defender for a good pick that they can stick. Right now they're being able to slip those picks. He's got to be a bit more patient. That means he actually needs to sit still a little bit and not roll around.
Right. It gives his teammate an easier opportunity to set that pick. When you're not picking a moving defender.
Yeah.
Lane violation.
Lane violation here.
One more free throw.
Offense is going to get one more free throw. if Alabama can locate Fishbach in transition. A little bit of congestion here offensively. Forcing up a tough shot there from Fishbach.
Nice read by the Alabama defender, though, coming right out.
Yep.
And not turning his back to collapse in.
We got an and one here from Ortega
with the and one.
So we've seen Ortega get in early in a bunch of possessions now. They hadn't looked to him, and this time they finally started to recognize that and capitalize on
That's
that.
his second, team 6.
So if they have a big man high on defense, like we talked about, as they defend Dylan Fishbach up high, that's opening up different types of offensive transition opportunities, either a wide open layup or if it's a big guy high, an early post.
Early post for him, absolutely, on that mismatch.
Violation, Warhawks basketball.
You see Whitewater now has a back pick. It's going to give them a lot more space now to work on offense as well. We'll see if Alabama still commits that defender to coming out to Dylan Fishbach. Good pressure there that time by the Alabama defense, taking that shot away from him and his passing lane.
Nice pass up court. Nice pass up court to James Cook.
We get a foul here on James Cook.
Defensive foul. And number 4, James Cook. His second, team 3rd.
Alabama able to collapse down there a bit on defense. Take that pick and roll away from Siddell and Fishbach. Here we see Ortega getting inside again. It's a great pick there by James Cook.
Great pick by Cook. And I liked how he stuck that defender for Whitewater. That helped create that second gap that we've been talking about. It's not the first one, it's the second one.
Great patience there on offense by Alabama. That's kind of what we were talking about, where they're going to be more efficient offensively. They really have to understand how to use that shot clock. You see now Cook and Ortega working together again. Seem to be a little more active offside of the ball now. Whitewater's defense stays home and continues to force that outside shot though. Great pass by Wofford over to Siddell for a layup.
Whitewater's so good in transition, and that really means in the middle of the court right here, Alabama has to identify threats in the middle of the court, not at the other three-point line. They're doing a good job inside the three-point line now with Fishbach, but they've got to extend that into their defensive transition.
I think Whitewater does such a great job working for each other in transition too, to make sure that somebody gets that open shot. See again, Whitewater is just packing it inside to try to take away anything inside from Alabama. You can almost see Wolford almost just sitting there in the middle of the key, waiting for anything to come to him. We have an offside seal here. We weren't able to get the ball inside. Tough shot there from Siddell. We got Ortega down for an early post. Timeout here by Alabama.
Timeout, Alabama.
So Whitewater doing a good job keeping it packed in, really denying that post game that Alabama wants. It's interesting, so I'm watching Alabama, they're really trying to seal their big guys in. Whitewater, as they're overplaying that, what is starting to open up is actually going to be a power cut. That complimentary read as Whitewater overcommits to stop and seal, which they've done a great job. Now let's see if the Alabama big guys have that power pivot move and can identify that, especially when they get matched up in those failed seal attempts. against a smaller player.
Exactly. When you have your lower class player trying to steal and taking away a bigger defender, it's going to give either Ortega or Prince that opportunity for a one-on-one read off of that.
Yeah. As
we're here in a timeout, I talked to shout out to his mom and his fiance.
Nice.
So shout out to DQ's mom and fiance.
And DQ's sitting right in front of us right now, getting ready to inbound the ball.
So now we see Alabama looking around a power side with Prince and Ortega. So what do you think they're trying to do in that adjustment, running that power side?
You know, I think they feel like he hasn't been really that effective offside, and what we're going to see from Whitewater then, they're just going to bring another defender over to push that screen out and make Prince take that 15, 17-foot jumper.
And fade away from Fishbach here. We see a long outlet pass by Ortega to DQ.
The lay-in by Dick Robinson.
Easy transition opportunity there for Alabama.
So again, we've seen that Whitewater's so aggressive when Dylan gets inside that three-point line. He is the bounce guy. Somebody else has to be aware of that and rotate. And so they understand they're the highest defender, their responsibility to get balance, because they've given up some easy layup opportunities here, and they can't let that happen throughout the game.
And that's, you know, we pulled it back. It's a one-point game now with Alabama in the lead. That's how they've gotten back in the lead, is from those early leaks.
At the end of the day, what you want to do is you want to create shots going to the rim, and there's lots of different ways to do that. One of them is these wide open one-on-one breaks and transition, and it's the easiest one to get.
So Alabama sub has brought Ryan Morich in for Ignacio Ortega. See, Whitewater kind of doing what we talked about Alabama needing to do, is take the advantage of the one-on-one mismatch. But again, we see Whitewater doesn't get back in transition. Easy layup for DQ in transition.
And there's DQ right after he finished defending Fishbach, breaking up the court. And I'll bet you that shout out to his mom and fiance probably didn't hurt getting him going.
Probably didn't hurt.
So now, Opie, he's got to make an adjustment.
Yep, that's what I was just going to say. He's got to make an adjustment.
I'm Keith Wallace, Executive Director for Lincoln Way Special Recreation Association. We are pleased to announce that we're hosting the 2019 Toyota National Wheelchair Basketball Championships presented by ABC Medical. The event will be held March 29th through the 31st at Lincoln Way Special Recreation Association, Lincoln Way North High School, Hickory Creek Middle School, and the Matson Community Center. Our local athletes are excited to have this event in their backyard. We hope to have some local fans in attendance. Please visit lwsra.org/NWBA for more up-to-date information on game times and schedules. Thank you.
The player to attack right after that ball release.
Are you saying the players ball watch, Coach Wheeler?
You know what? There's been a couple of times where I've seen some players ball watch.
Say it's not so. Say it's not so.
It's so. I'm afraid it is so. I'm afraid it's so. As disciplined as we'd like our athletes to be, sometimes they like to know where the ball is. They'll follow that around.
Whitewater trying their early post game with Wolford.
Fishbach's able to get up ahead of steam off that pick. Get something driving going to the basket.
Still nice read by Cook from Alabama, committed to going out, making Dylan do something other than his first choice.
Fouls on number 34, Ryan Morich.
A foul on Ryan Morich.
Fouls on the floor. Warhawks ball on the baseline.
Called that a foul on the floor, so Whitewater will be inbounding from the baseline. Gotta be careful with that inbounds pass underneath the basket. See an on-ball pick and roll. And that middle steal coming from Colin Evans to try to get Walford in, offside.
Christian Seidel.
A nice little pick and roll by Dylan Fishback inside out.
And they're able to get that pick and roll because they had that offside action from Colin Evans trying to get the middle steal.
Couldn't rotate the defender over to stop it.
See now again, Whitewater packing it in.
The bench
Operates
is
that
open
nice
for
little bank
Michael
shot.
Prince.
If he starts getting that shot going, it'll be interesting to see if Whitewater makes an adjustment to come out and jump, or if they're going to be really comfortable with him taking that shot for the rest of the game.
Alabama didn't move the Whitewater defenders around enough to create those larger gaps, and that was all they were going to have at time.
The mismatch there. Fishbuck gets ahead of steam going against Kimbrough.
Following number 23, Spencer
So now,
Kimbrough. His first.
Dylan Fishback making a slight adjustment. He's recognizing that the Alabama defender coming at him, instead of slowing up, he's going to use that extra speed in the closeout to make him a bit quicker on the drive.
Foul on the shot. Jake Schaefer on the line for
Foul
two.
on the shot. But the foul's going to be on
Foul's
Robinson.
on number 22, DeQuell Robinson.
Got Jake Schaefer going to the line for
His
two.
first Alabama's 17 foul.
Alabama leads 33-30 with 2:25 left to play in the half.
Nice box out there by Alabama. They attack the ball. You see Alabama now trying to back pick, create some of that space we've been talking about for themselves. And you see
Great seal
how
by
it's resulted in a great seal for Cook, by Cook to get Prince inside.
Prince with
All
the
caused
putback
by Ryan
for
Morris's
two.
hard work in the full court to back pick. See, Alabama lost Fishbuck in transition there.
Can't lose sight. Middle of the court, that's where your defense starts, not when you get back to your three-point line.
So now we've got that picking angle that you want. Morich up high with the ball.
Ryan
Saw DQ be able to keep those two defenders away
taps
from
him in.
Morich. That gives him that open little 15-foot jumper. But there's a lot of one-on-one reads from Whitewater right now. They're able to get inside.
fouled on the shot.
Fidel.
You can see Dylan Fishback, if he doesn't have that shot, he's struggling to create something else. He had the one on-ball pick and roll. He's had a couple of drives,
Alabama's 18 foul.
but he's struggling to do it. So this is where he needs to use the ball to create that pick and roll. Let his teammate set that pick, swing it, and then attack offside, and then burn his teammates with the pick and roll. (37-33) Alabama. Minute 2 seconds left in the half.
Second free throw is good.
Whitewater cuts the lead to 3.
See Alabama set themselves up there to screen off the Whitewater defenders to create that outside shot for Robinson. Fishbuck reset behind the three-point line.
Yeah, a little bit rushed, didn't quite get set. Alabama doing a good job committing to get out.
And once again, we have DQ leaking out, no balance on defense. Tough shot there. He had some teammates coming.
Take your time. You're a little bit off balance.
Lots of pressure on that pick and roll with Fishbach. You see offense now just kind of zoning off in the key. Play two. Like you said earlier, Alabama has that length. They can play basically 1.5 people. Good defense there at the end of the quarter to take away a momentum shot from Whitewater going into halftime.
Alabama 37.
So,
University of Wisconsin, Whitewater 34.
At the half, Alabama 37, Whitewater 34. So your thoughts on the first half, Steph?
I think what we saw is both teams adjusting defensively to the offensive strengths of the other team. So we saw Alabama make that adjustment to bring pressure out to Fishbach and force them to have to run a pick and roll, force them to have to do something different. You saw Whitewater really didn't have to make the adjustment. They started out packing it in the key to take away that height that Alabama's going to have to try to get in the key. So, and you really didn't see much of that change as they went on.
Yeah. So neither team has done a good job addressing the defensive adjustments.
Right.
So at the half, if you're Opie, that's your first conversation. It's like, hey Dylan, these are our adjustments. So why don't you start even higher? Let's try to run that pick and roll. Give it to it. Give the ball up. Try to play without the ball after they extend. Because it's a class 1 that's out there. That's not quite as quick as you when you don't have the ball.
Absolutely.
And on the other end, it's being patient to move their players around to create the second gap, not the first gap. The second gap will be a bit bigger than that first gap. And then maybe see some of those complementaries with some power pivots.
The Illinois team setting a new
It'll be
team
interesting to see if they have any. Alabama makes the adjustment. They're going to bring
finishing the
Ortega
season
back
with a
in
perfect
the second
19-0
half.
record.
Seems like when Morich
Tom
came in,
Brown was the
he was
leading
able to
scorer
calm
during
them
that
down a little bit and
tournament with
relax them more into
62
their
points,
offense.
including 16 in
So
the
right
final
now
game.
at
Ed Owen was
the
the top
half,
scorer in the championship game
University of
with 17
Illinois is
points.
honoring
Kim Pollock,
the 1969 championship team, which went undefeated. At that time, they were the only college team in the nation competing in an open division against all the adult men's teams. And they did the incredible feat of going undefeated and winning a national championship. And we're honoring those gentlemen here at half. The gentlemen out here representing that team, Kim Pollock,
In front of us here,
Carl
we have
Lewis,
the alumni of that
Rich Feltis,
1968-19
and Jim Taylor.
Richard Feltis.
Great team and led by the great Ed Owen,
Jim Taylor.
coached by Stan Labanowitz. Ed Owen, one of the greatest players of all time, and the person who wrote the first comprehensive manual on wheelchair basketball. I still look at my copy of that today.
I remember as a young player, one of the first people that I met was Ed Owen at basketball tournaments, and it was one of those things where when you talked with him, you knew you were going to have this incredibly cerebral and specific conversation about the tiniest points of wheelchair basketball. I've never had a conversation with someone where they're talking about, if your front caster is here, if your front caster is here, and how to make those really small adjustments to make a huge difference. He was just incredible to talk basketball with in that way.
Yeah, and the other thing I always loved about, I always felt like I was like a great-great-grandkid when I was around him. And so I was very quiet, very respectful. But the other neat thing about him is he was always going out trying to find a way to get better, to improve the game. And when he learned some new skill, his first thought wasn't, who can I go beat with this? His first thought was, who can I go teach this to? And he had a tremendous impact on the game, literally having that impact today.
And I think one of the things that I talk to our student athletes about all the time is just understanding that history and understanding that that's the legacy of all of our college programs, is we want to be the ones who teach the sport and move the sport forward and make sure that the learning doesn't stop with us, that it continues to go.
Yeah, every generation has a responsibility to move the game forward just a little bit, because we enjoy what we have today because somebody did that for us. Yep. And so it's our responsibility, and it's also the way we say thank you to that previous generation.
Absolutely.
Is to move it forward.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So folks, we'll be back in about 10 minutes for the second half of the men's national championship game. Alabama leads Whitewater 37-34. It's going to be a great second half.
It's going to be a great second half.
So whatever you're doing at home,
do it quickly.
Do it quickly.
And then come back and join us.
And get back here and join us.
University of Illinois was the birthplace for wheelchair basketball here in the United States. That was all spearheaded by Dr. Tim Nugent. He was an incredible man that, returning from World War II, saw many of his friends that were World War II veterans that didn't have access to the same facilities and maybe sports and activities that they had in the past, came back to the States and they wanted to pursue an education with the GI Bill, but didn't have the accessibility here. And what Dr. Nugent wanted to do was make it accessible for them, and the best way of getting attention to their accessibility was putting them into sports. And because you had a group of guys, they started playing wheelchair basketball. Dr. Nugent spearheaded that for the ADA, for everything that it came for accessibility and for wheelchair basketball, creating the NWBA and creating incredible opportunities for thousands of individuals with disabilities to play an incredible game of wheelchair basketball across the country and internationally.
When you watch wheelchair basketball, you'll see that the athletes play in very specialized chairs. Their chair setup is based a lot on the functional muscle that they have to use. So players who don't have as much functional muscle are going to generally sit lower to the ground. They're going to have their seat angled to where their bottom is lower than their knees to help them passively stabilize themselves in their chair. The ones who have more functional muscle are going to generally sit taller and sit flatter because they can balance and use a lot of muscle. There's camber in the wheels. There's two reasons behind that. One is for stability, because wheelchair basketball is a very physical sport. And then secondly, it actually helps you to turn and pivot quicker. You'll also see on most basketball chairs now a 5th and 6th wheel on the back of the chairs so that when you lean back, you don't fall over backwards. I think the last important piece about chair setup is the strapping system. You'll see that the athletes can be strapped in at multiple points. This strapping system is based on which muscles that you can use. The goal at the end of the day is to be at one with your chair. And so every chair is made specially for each athlete. Pick and roll is one of the main ways that you'll see scoring happen in wheelchair basketball. There's a couple different things to think about when we're looking at the pick and roll. One, a lot of times we'll use the pick and roll and you'll see teams get a wide open layup off of it because you've picked, a defender is out, and there's a free lane to the basket where you can roll. Sometimes what you'll also see off of a pick and roll is we've created a mismatch. So you'll have someone offensively who's a bit taller or a bit faster get a little bit closer to the basket in a mismatch situation that they can take advantage of. And I think one of the other things that you'll see off of a pick and roll is that it will cause some kind of defensive rotation so that you're moving defenders around in order to get one of your other teammates on the other side of the court open. So when you look at a pick and roll, a lot of times it's not just what you generate on one side of the court, but it's what it's opening up on the other side of the court.
I'm Keith Wallace, the Executive Director for Lincoln Way Special Recreation Association. We are pleased to announce that we are hosting the 2019 Toyota National Wheelchair Basketball Championships presented by ABC Medical. The event will be held March 29th through the 31st at Lincoln Way Special Recreation Association, Lincoln Way North High School, Hickory Creek Middle School, and the Matson Community Center. Our local athletes are excited to have this event in their backyard. We hope to have some local fans in attendance. Please visit lwsra.org/NWBA for more up-to-date information on game times and schedules. Thank you.
Pretty much every man for himself out here, if you will. My name is Derek Parrish, Navajo. I reside out here in San Austin, New Mexico. Katnazat Nishlindo, Twittercheat, Westchin, Oantlana Dashache do bit on Dashanella. Well, to the nearest grocery store from this place, it's about a good hour-and-a-half drive into Farmington, and it's gotten really tough, you know, going against the weather and everything. The road conditions out here get real bad. As you can see, the terrain is nothing but dirt roads and everything. It really takes a toll if you're pushing around in a wheelchair. 2017 University of Illinois wheelchair basketball camp has been a blast for me. You know, I'm taking on the coaching clinic and everything, and there's a lot of stuff that I learned. The coach's point of view of the game, it's been interesting for me, and working alongside with the actual student athletes here at Illinois, the wheelchair basketball team, pretty good. I like it. Well, the environment here is, I like the campus. It's pretty big, a lot of friendly people. Coming from a small town, it's more culture shocking to me when I got here. It's way different than back home on the res and stuff. If I was able to complete my education and become a gym teacher and, you know, conduct all that stuff out of this area, I would really love it. You know, it'd be nice to be able to spread the word and help out other disabled youth. Stephanie and Butchie, they've been real good teachers through this whole coaching process, you know, the camp and everything. You got a bunch of kids with different disabilities, and so you got to take that into consideration, have patience, having a practice plan and utilizing that time real carefully throughout practice. That's a big key, you know, because a lot of the times, like out where we come from, people live so far away from each other, and if you're in it to win it, you got to really take care of that time on the court. A lot of it is just getting out there and have fun. That's what I see behind the whole thing. There's really not a lot out there on the Navajo reservation that I know of. I would like to see one visual I heard Noah Hotchkiss talk about with tribal adapters, you know, getting an all Native American team off the res, different reses. You pull them together and get into D3 tournaments, and I'd like to see the tribes get more involved, you know, with funding or something. Make it all possible, equipment, that don't come around easy. The schooling part of it too, I'd like to see more student athletes come off the res, you know, with disabilities. That'd be good. I'd like to give a big shout out to Billy Mills for making this all possible. He's helped us out in the past. It was fun, and I'm glad I got to experience it again, this time down at the University of Illinois. You know, really impacted my life, you know, it's opened up opportunities.
Welcome back, folks, to the second half of the men's national championship game between Alabama and Whitewater. Alabama up 3 points, 37-34, as we get ready to start the second half.
We talked about some adjustments that we thought the teams would make coming out into the second half. We see now adjustments. Evans with a shot right off the bat.
Right off the bat, Opie's taking the ball out of Dylan Fishback's hands, and they're trying to attack off ball.
You see Alabama has stuck with Morch in the lineup. You see Steele trying to work offside. You see Offense now trying to take advantage of that one-on-one mismatch. And the Steele didn't work.
Off the glass and in, Dickwell Robinson.
Now back on ball. We got a 2-on-1 offside. Schaefer with the shot. That's the shot that Alabama will be content to give up here in the second half.
So Alabama continuing to jump Dylan Fishback and willing to give up a roll.
You see now Alabama going back to that power side. Setting up offense for that outside shot. They went to that a couple times in the first half for offense to get shots behind the screen. See an early post from Wofford.
Ball on the floor in the act of shooting.
So offense, you know, a little slow getting back on defense. Kind of looked like he was thinking a little bit about that shot that he made. And on the other, Wofford pushing it up hard, gets position.
That's classic Whitewater.
Offense
pushing the ball in transition.
Brian Wofford on the line for 2.
So with those young players out there, one of the things that you're always looking for is players to make that quick mental switch from offense to defense, from defense to offense. And Whitewater really good at doing that, going from defense to offense.
Box out there from Alabama. Whitewater again staying home, trying to push those screens one chair length off the edge of the key. Have offense out behind that screen again.
So a little bit different shot for him. Slight roll versus that stationary shot.
Recognize Fishbach a little late in transition. People down all over the place.
It's going to stay Alabama basketball.
Still Alabama basketball. No inbounds from the side.
So I think I heard Jeremy Lottie yelling, read the drive. I think he wants his players to understand if it's going to be a jump and a triple switch versus a jump and a trail. Needs to know who's setting that screen for the Alabama player.
Yep.
That'll allow them to get out on O-print and they can dump the ball to a lesser threat if it's somebody they can jump and trail and triple switch in.
It's easy to take away that passing lane and the shot at the same time. So you see again, offside, Alabama being happy with Schaefer behind the screen, and they work a seal side to try to get Wofford to the key. Push him about a chair length off the edge of the key, a little bit outside of his range where he's comfortable.
And Jake Schaefer got caught sitting behind Wofford's screen instead of trying to seal him in. It's one of the things that Evans does really well.
Yep. So we see a mismatch here for offense on Evans. Again, not a lot of movement there for Alabama offensively. Settling for that outside shot. Whitewater doing a really nice job of getting those picks for Fishbach in transition. You see that they open up multiple cutting lanes. Really nice job from Fishbach, understanding that both defenders were coming out on him for Siddell to just roll to the basket.
Number 34, Ryan Morich, his second, team second.
So you can see the Alabama defense committing to stop Fishbach.
You see again with the length of offense, he's able to sag and play in the middle of the key and guard Siddell and a cut from Fishbach at the same time.
So Whitewater's got to do a better job of creating space so that length isn't a factor.
Exactly. So again, you hear Opie yelling again to read the dive. Whitewater trying to get a back pick here in transition, and they've got a numbers advantage coming up court with the 5-on-4. Created.
Nice crossing in the open court. Brian Wolford crosses, sets his pick, waits a moment, lets space get recreated, and then releases.
That's the adjustment that you talked about going into halftime with extending their picks up into the full court. Basically running your offense not in the half court, but in the full court. Alabama not really creating a lot of space for themselves offensively. Morich comes out for the three.
Whitewater doing a great job denying the height inside Alabama. And Alabama unsure how to create the bigger gap to be able to get in.
You see where Alabama jumps and trails, so they trail Schaefer going to the basket. Nice shot from Colin Evans.
Whitewater ties it up, 41 all. Slowly chipping away and coming back. Great
job by Schaefer there, stopping Robinson's share.
One of the things we talk about the importance of space, and DQ needed to stop before that bounce stop, create space, don't run into the defense.
Keep his space and movement away from the defender. Now conversely, we have a foul now coming back down on DeQuell. Subs coming in for Alabama. We have Ignacio Ortega coming in to replace Ryan Morich.
So it'll be really interesting as we see this possession unfold. Watch the offside for Alabama and see if Jake Schaefer works to get Brian Wolford in.
You see now, Whitewater's taking the ball out of Dylan Fishbach's hands. Now they're struggling a bit to handle the ball with the pressure from Alabama.
Nice pick and roll.
Great pick and roll.
Finally took advantage. They took advantage of the class 1 for Alabama jump without the ball as he is in the game plan. Brian Wolford sets the pitch. Dylan Fishbach recreates space. So they pick and roll without the ball to take advantage of Alabama jumping when Dylan doesn't have the ball.
It's a really nice execution there by Whitewater.
Yeah. So what Alabama's got to do, they got to identify now that their triple switch to the threat isn't going to be on ball, it's going to be off ball. And that's a tough thing for players to do, to identify the threat is off ball.
Yep, we talked a little bit about how our players sometimes like the ball watch, where that becomes really, really challenging is when all of your threats are off ball.
Foul on 42. Christian Sedell.
Whitewater's taken the lead back, 43-41, 13-42 to play.
That's Christian's third foul. Team's first foul.
Robinson going to the line for 2 shots.
Not a lot of subbing going on in this game.
Not a lot of subbing right now.
Shooting 2. First one's good.
Alabama ties it back up, 43-all.
Great job by Alabama working together to get everybody back in to make it a little bit harder for Whitewater to create that space and that open court offense like they want, but lose Fishbach there in transition. Whitewater, lots of opportunities underneath there.
Great contesting by Alabama to go up vertically and not get that pushing foul.
Again, Robinson needing to keep his space and movement just a little bit more so that when they create that picking angle, he's giving his teammate Kimbrough a better roll to the basket. He's going to give him a little more time and more space where he can gather the ball and take that shot well.
Yeah. It's going to be tough with Whitewater compacted so far, and Kimbrough's not going to have a lot of space to pick the ball. So can he pull him out? Can he get Whitewater to come a little bit farther out so he has time to gather the ball, get his balance?
Just another foot or two. Just another foot or two he needs to give his teammate.
Warhawks basketball.
We got Fishbach running on ball again. We're able to get a cut inside for Wofford. The defense is focusing a little too much on Fishbach there.
Yeah, again, I think they're better off get the ball out of Dylan's hands.
Robinson
Drive to the basket.
Caught the Whitewater defenders taking a breather.
I think that's one of the things that he brings to the team, that DQ brings, is that ability to do that. See, Ortega now with an early post on 2 smaller players.
Ignacio Ortega
Timeout
off the
now by
glass and
Whitewater.
in. Warhawks timeout.
Trying to stop this little 4-point run that Alabama's going on.
Yeah. Opie just going to settle his guys down. And we see he goes back to what we saw at the very beginning. Get the ball back out of Dylan Peake's backhand. Let Dylan sit there. Let that Alabama defender extend and pick without the ball and take advantage of that way. And let Alabama play the other 3 guys on the other side. And for Alabama, so they got a couple of transition opportunities where they haven't been able to really get to the rim inside the half court, and it's about that patience again.
You want to force other teams to have to play a full shot clock of defense. See if the Whitewater timeout has stopped taking away Alabama's momentum. One of the dangers of leaving that middle open and kind of flying by on that defensive rotation and trying to get that wide open layup is you leave yourself open for offensive rebounds.
Violation, Warhawks basketball.
Yeah. Robinson a little bit rushed. Needs to make that read, bounce stop, create space, and take his time.
And Whitewater looking offside. And here we go with Alabama again. This is really how they're looking to generate a lot of their offense.
Yeah, so Ortega going into Schaefer is going to the basket. Probably the better read might be just go in and get the 2 points. And then if he gets bumped, you can get the add 1.
Shooting 2 for Ignacio Ortega.
But to really make this work, you have to be like a 90% free throw shooter.
His third, team's third.
It's the first.
First one's good.
First one's good.
But I think if you asked him, he'd rather take 2 shots to get 2 points or take 1 shot to get 2 points. I think he'd say
Maybe
1.
1 shot. Hey, got them both anyway.
Good too.
See Alabama working hard to get everybody back in defensive transition.
So it looks like Whitewater's adjustment coming out is to run that power side pick and roll. And then look for Evans offside, and then the seal to get side element.
They're reading that 4th person defensive rotation. Wherever that 4th person goes, they're attacking away from that.
Yeah.
So back to this power side now for Bama. Prince likes that big shot on the left-hand side. Interesting to see if Whitewater will make an adjustment by low shading. Try to get him off of that spot that he really likes to be on.
Make him turn just a little bit, yeah.
Definitely a shot that Alabama's looking to force.
Warhawks ball.
And Jake Schaefer can't just sit there behind that screen. He has to be active offside. And like you said, he's got to make a read on that 4th person. Not the help defenders triple switching, the 4th person to read whether he's going to be sealing for somebody or not.
Player down. Warhawks ball sideline.
So we're about halfway through the second half right now. 51-45, Alabama in the lead.
There's the off ball pick and roll. Evans with the jump shot.
I think sometimes defensively, when someone comes out and they hit a couple of shots, they're the person that you want shooting. Sometimes your defense can become a little bit undisciplined. It seems like what Alabama's doing is sticking to that defensive plan. Now we see Prince come back down and hit a big in one for them.
His first team.
Puts him up by 8 right now.
Starting to build that little bit of a gap.
takes that lead up to 9 now.
Michael Prince.
Whitewater's had a little bit of trouble in the past 4 or 5 minutes generating offense for themselves.
Dylan Fishbach for 3.
They really struggle. They can't get Dylan. If they can't get their transition lips and if they can't get Dylan that 3, they have trouble finding something else.
Yep. See them again cutting, trying to get inside, finding those mismatches. Nice movement offside there by DeQuell Robinson to put himself in a position to be able to get that layup offside and not just sit.
They did a nice job creating space and then just doing a simple little cut, a facing cut on the baseline.
A little bit of a miscommunication there by the Alabama defense. Prince seemed a little too focused over on Fishbach's side and left Kimbrough out on his own. Have to guard Walford in space.
So for those young players out there, one of the things that's what we call an ID marker, or one of the things that differentiates really
fouls on number 23,
from,
Spencer Kimbrough.
Average
His
players
second,
is their ability to see the court.
team
And
fifth.
what I really look at when I'm watching a player out here, I want to see how frequently they turn their head. Every couple of seconds, they got to be glancing behind them and seeing the rest of the court, whether they think they need to or not.
There's always something to see. You want to make sure you have all the information that you need to make those decisions. That's why the little look.
And Jake Schaefer tried to steal low. Wolford read the overplay, and he did the complimentary read. He cut to the basket to get open.
Cut it down to 6 now.
DeQuell
There by DeQuell
Robinson.
Robinson. And a nice cut by Ortega. Pulled the defense in and opened up that little shot for Robinson.
Leads back up to 8. 8:26 to play.
Seidel off the glass and in.
What Fishbach seems to be doing a good job of now is understanding that all the defenders that are coming his way, he's now facilitating for the rest of his offense. It's happened the last couple times down.
Ignacio Ortega.
It's a little too late there trying to come out on
Christian
Fishbach.
Seidel.
Well, waited a little bit too long to come out. Gave him that lane, gave him the driving lane and the passing lane to be able to see which option was going to be open.
Dylan does do a really nice job when he's got space to keep his head up for a shot for that pass. When you come up and you're physical with him, it's a lot more.
Yep.
It's much more
Yes.
difficult for him.
So back to a power side now for Alabama. Ortega couldn't hit the shot on this side.
It looked like Ortega wanted a foul on that, but I don't think we're going to see that call.
Great job of Prince using his length defensively to get another run out for their team.
Kimbrough.
Alabama does a really great job of understanding that transition and that switch to go from defense to offense and knowing that they can change the way this game looks with their transition offense.
Well, and I like when the big guys from Alabama are extended on a smaller Whitewater ball handler. They identify the defensive mismatch, and they don't worry anymore about being helped, and they go and they've attacked the ball. And that means those players like Dylan has to come back, and some of the big guys have to post back out to relieve that ball pressure. So there are mismatches on offense, mismatches on defense.
Yep. Alabama's extended their lead back up to 8. Okay, now we've got an and one
Ortega
point
for the and one.
Ortega got the call he wanted on the last possession.
10-point lead for Alabama.
Foul's going to be on number 5, Dylan Fishbach.
6:08
his
to
third.
play.
Team's 5th.
Whitewater calls the timeout.
Timeout, Warhawks. Full timeout.
So defensively, some transition difficulties for Whitewater.
That's
They're
where you've
taking
seen the game change in the last 4 to 5 minutes.
the times when Alabama's getting in now, they're getting in early in an offensive possession because Whitewater's pushing back and identifying threats too late. They're not seeing in the open court and talking and coming together. They're going really to spots. And Alabama's seeing the seams, especially at the elbows, and cutting up there. And then at the other end, Whitewater struggling.
Visit Champaign County would like to
with the
welcome
ball
you
and
to State Farm
doing
Center
pushbacks
as the
hands.
official tourism
Get out of his
destination
hands
marketing
again.
organization.
Play off
They
ball.
are your go-to
He's not
resource
doing
to anything and everything.
Alabama's doing a great job
For
taking
more
away the
information
threes.
on
Really
what
nice job
Champaign
taking
has
away
to
the
offer,
threes,
check out
forcing
Visit
him to have to
Champaign
come
County's
inside and
website
run the
at
pick and roll or
visitchampaigncounty.org.
involve his teammates in some different way. If you're Opie right now, what adjustments are you making? What are you telling your guys?
We got to calm them down. It's 10 points, but there's 6 minutes. There's
Doable.
time left.
Lots of time.
Absolutely. It's patience. Hey guys, Dylan, start with the ball five, but then get rid of it. We'll pick and roll without the ball. And then guys off ball, be patient. You know? And that means Evans, if a big guy's on you, move the ball. Identify who's coming up the match. Be patient. Because we'll get in on Dylan's side off ball with the pick and roll. You know, I do that.
What's
and
Ford
then,
telling his guys?
on the other side, I think Ford just wants to push this guy. Ford's doing a really, really great job in his transition. Stay with your defense, guys. Let's identify those mismatches, contest ball handlers with big guys. Let's jump Dylan and be ready to help on Dylan's side.
A three-point play, it goes
Whitewater
down for
needs to
Ignacio
push the
Ortega.
Alabama offense out just a little bit farther.
You see Wofford doing a really nice job
Wolford
again.
for two.
Coming in and sticking that pick.
Yep.
Now we see Alabama doing a great job back picking in the full court.
And that creates
Ortega is still open.
Offense and Ortega.
And Ortega in the key. You gotta have your choice of
take your
whichever
pick.
big guy you wanted there.
Yep. Again, Wolford with the pick. And that's creating that opportunity. He's doing a really nice job looking to pick to create. And now Alabama with another back pick.
Let's see if they choose to use the space. Looks like they're just going to play 4-on-4. And again, you open that cutting lane now for
Well,
DQ.
Robinson to the
You got all
line
that
for
space.
two.
So it's so interesting as the players start to
Follows on
defend that
number
2-on-2
4,
game on the
Colin
wing.
Evans.
One of
His
the things the
second,
defenders need to do is they need to
team
readjust their chair. They're getting stuck facing in and they need to turn their chair early so they're facing out so they can defend the complementary read. And that's where Robinson saw the opening. The pick wasn't there, so he saw the cut. And the defender didn't adjust their position to be ready to
First
defend.
one's good.
Alabama extending their lead now to 12, 68-56. 5 minutes and 15 seconds to go.
Both field goals are good.
Now up to 13, 69-56.
And there's Wolford with another pick in the open court.
Jake Shaver with the putback.
See Alabama leaking early again.
Yeah, there's time. Yeah, there's
Tip off
time.
Alabama,
Dylan
going
Fishback
Warhawks ball.
doesn't need to take threes. I know he's a great shooter. I get it. You know, but they can chip away at it. Really what they need is they need to get defensive stops.
Yep. Again, nice shot by Alabama getting into the full court.
Ignacio Ortega heading to the line
Nice
again
seal
for
by
two.
Kimbrough
Great seal by
to work
Kimbrough.
Ortega
Follows on
in.
the
You know,
right.
so often I see
That's
players, they
Colin
want to
Evans.
keep space,
That's his
keep
third
separated like that.
team
That's
seven.
really something that works well in stand-up basketball. But
Two
when that
shots.
defender turns their back to go to the ball, you attack back.
The
So you
read
can
is to
attack it
attack
with a
it.
cut, or you attack it with a pick. And Kimbrough did a great job attacking with a pick.
That's when as a big guy, you got to go over
First one
and
goes down.
make sure you let that little guy know that's his bucket.
That's right.
Tough by Whitewater, didn't get that box out. Okay, we have a 12-point game, 4.5 minutes left in the national championship game.
Foul on number 24,
70-58
Prince,
for Alabama.
his second, team sixth.
I think one of the things you're starting to see as we kind of get down towards the end of the game, who's going to be able to keep their composure in those big championship moments. It's really going to help define who's going to be able to come out on top. Just keep your composure and stay to your game plan. Alabama did a really nice job offside there that time. They brought 3 to that power side and did a really great job playing 2-on-3 defense.
Yeah. And Whitewater not identifying how they need to attack when they have that advantage offside.
I think Alabama wants to run a little time off the clock here. Nice job by Evans. Shot
with the
fake.
reverse.
And there's that transition. And Dylan Fishback stopping higher. Again, pulling those defenders farther out.
Offensive foul.
Offensive foul there on James
Cook.
Yeah.
Warhawks
The officials,
basketball.
every time they see a player's back wheels come off the ground, offensive and defensive, somebody's getting a foul.
Somebody's going to get a foul called on that.
7 foul.
Yeah, if your back wheels come off the ground, you don't have control of your chair. And they're not going to reward you for that.
Not going to reward you for that.
Dylan
Great
Fishbach.
job by Fishbach. He's
for
going
three.
away from his shooting hand and away from where he likes to shoot. Did a great job of turning and resetting to take that 3. Cuts it down to a 7-point lead now for Alabama. About 2:45 to go in the game.
Dequel Robinson for 2.
So at what point, if you're Opie, do you look to start fouling? Because they're in the bonus, or in the, you get them shooting 1-and-1 now. So what are your thoughts on
Warhawks got the ball out of bounds.
when you start
Alabama
to run your end
basketball.
I think you can begin to pick your shooters, but the challenge is Alabama showed a lot of discipline not putting the ball in their non-shooters' hands. And so how do you, you've got the time right now where you can pick your shooters and you could foul some guys to put them on the line, let them move the ball around, but Alabama's not giving the ball to those guys. So, you know, Ortega's proven that he can shoot. Prince looks okay, and same with Robinson. You know, it's how do you get the ball in Cook's or Kimbrough's hands? And then
if you're Alabama now, the clock is your friend. You definitely want to do what you can.
take your time.
State's
Take your
Alabama
time.
basketball.
You know, you can start to wait out at the three-point line, literally wait, and not start attacking until maybe, 18, 16 seconds on the shot clock. So let some time run off.
See the mismatch here with Prince on Evans off of that inbounds play. Big shot
The
there.
bank is still open. Michael Prince.
2 minutes left. Alabama 74, Whitewater 63. 2 minutes left in the game.
So Whitewater doing a
Off
better
the
job
glass, side down.
picking high. And that's what's giving them
Warhawks,
a little bit
timeout.
more space to get to the
Substitution
basket.
coming in for
More
Alabama.
space, a little more time.
But they've
Number
got to get
11,
stopped.
Jordan
So
Bartlett coming in for
1:49 to
Ignacio.
play. Now we're starting into our end game. That's probably the conversation Opie's having right now. He's letting his guys know. So we're down by 9. We don't have to get it all back. 2s or 3s are good. So Dylan, you don't have to take all the 3s. Continue to use that. Quick 2s are worthwhile right now.
And use that 3 to generate those quick 2s, just like they did down here. They didn't take much time off the clock.
Can Whitewater put pressure up court now, though? Can they begin to try to create, some more problems? They've struggled. They've done a good job inside, but they don't look to me like a team that plays a lot of full court defense.
And that really, if you want to force the ball into the hands of Cook or Kimbrough, you want to extend your defense, because then you can take the ball out of the hands of Ortega and Prince and Robinson. They're going to have to pass the ball at some point.
Whitewater's gone the entire game with the same 5 guys. Looks like they're getting some subs ready.
Maybe to come in and start fouling.
So they can have some situation subs that might come in and foul or come in and be ready to play defense or press, depending upon what they need.
It looks like Alabama's done the same. They've subbed Jordan Bartley and for Ignacio Ortega. So you see now that Whitewater has brought that pressure up, trying to force the ball into the hands of some of those lower threats. Couldn't quite get it done though. Foul there on Jake Schaefer. Going to have Dewell Robinson going to the line.
Yeah, so Schaefer's 4th foul. That's going to make it a little bit more challenging for Whitewater if they're going to extend full court.
Dewell Robinson to the line, shooting 1 and 1.
One of their quicker players and quicker defenders, which is who you want to put up in that full court situation. Whitewater got what they wanted out of that.
Dylan Fishbach for 3.
Fishbach gets a 3, cuts the lead, 74-68, a minute and a half left. Whitewater's extending that pressure in the full court. Alabama doing a really nice job.
Foul. Defensive foul.
Looks like we have a foul on Dylan Fishbach.
That is his 4th, team's 9th.
Yeah, aggressive play by Dylan.
Very aggressive.
Whitewater guys not really happy with
Jordan Barley at the line.
You got to go.
You got to go hard after it. Tough situation for Bartley coming in after sitting on the bench the entire game.
I thought they were going to foul him when he first got the ball over half court because he really hadn't had much pushing in him yet.
Alabama's got to bring that defender up that's guarding the picker. You can't give Fishbach that amount of space.
They've got to know that Dylan is going to be even less likely to give that ball up and looking for his 3 and whatever he can do to reset and get that 3 right now.
At this point, if you're Alabama, you'll give up the 2 to take away that 3 from Dylan.
So Whitewater was down by 12, and now they're down by 3, and a lot of time left to be played in this game.
52 seconds.
Alabama calls timeout.
We have a timeout here by Alabama just before the foul.
So the subs by Alabama, I thought Ortega has been doing a really good job. He's got a bit of speed out there. Alabama bringing in number 11, Bartley.
Yeah, I don't know if, I don't think Ortega is in foul trouble at this point. It's tough because Bartley just hasn't seen a lot of court time, any court time this game. When you bring him on in one of these end-game situations, you can't expect for him to have to go to the line at some point. That's hard after sitting on the bench for an entire game to come in and knock down free throws.
Yeah, they went from having 3 people out there to shoot free throws to having 2 out there, and it made it easier for Whitewater to defend them. So, 3-point ball game right now. Does Whitewater stay up in their pressure?
I think so. I think it's been causing some disruption with Alabama. It's taken them out of their rhythm. I think Alabama got into a really nice offensive rhythm, and that pressure that they've put up with Fishbach and Schaefer has taken them out of that. They can't get that early post now either. They've got some pressure on the ball.
And now it'll be so important. The Alabama players will have to post the ball away against the pressure,
and then that's
pick
when you want to
off
foul.
ball, but then get rid of the ball.
Yeah, and actually right now, Whitewater doesn't have to foul. There's plenty of time. I think you can play this
Keep
possession
the pressure
out.
Up. Ortega's still not in there. This is when you're Alabama. When they get the ball to your players in the positions where they feel most comfortable. That's an incredible pass by Prince. An absolutely incredible pass. Yeah.
A great job by Robinson getting himself open offside. Looks like we're gonna have a foul here
It's going to be a defensive foul.
on DeQuell Robinson.
Number 22, DeQuell Robinson, his fourth.
And that's his fourth
So
foul.
we're starting to accumulate some
A
fouls.
little bit
here.
of
We
foul trouble.
got Schaefer and Fishback each with 4.
Substitutions coming
Robinson
in.
now with 4.
Brian Wolfer will be on the
It'll be
line
interesting,
shooting
you know, this
1-1.
game could go to overtime.
New in
So,
Jonathan Lang.
You know,
subbing
how do
in
you
for
manage
Jay
those players
Schaefer.
then?
Yeah.
Some of your big time players with 4 fouls if you do end up having to go into overtime.
Sub in for Whitewater. Number 24 coming in for
Brian
Jake
Wolfer was the
Schaefer.
first one.
It's like Johnny Lang's coming in to come up and foul. Since Schaefer has 4, we've got some situational substitution going on here, it seems like, from Opie.
4-point ball game, 29.3 seconds to play.
Hey, this is a tough thing. If you're Alabama, you certainly didn't want to foul and let them score some dead ball points. Well, for a great job knocking down both those free throws.
3-point lead. Wolford thought he could sneak in and get the jump. He's going to put Oprince on the line.
That is his second. Warhawks' 10th foul. Michael Allprince.
So
shooting
28.6
2.
seconds left. Alabama
double
up
bonus.
76-73. All Prince on the line for the double bonus. We're shooting 2.
First one's good.
Lots of experience there in All Prince taking these free throws. Remember the Australian
Substitution
national
Warhawks.
team?
Jake Schaefer subbing in
It's
for
a great
Jonathan
luxury
Lang.
to have at the end of a game someone who can remain calm and has been in the big moment before.
2-possession ball game now. So important that Whitewater remembers they don't need the 3. They
Second one goes good.
both help them right now.
Still only a 5-point game. When you have someone as good of a shooter as Dylan Fishbach, that lead could diminish pretty quickly. See, again, that person guarding the picker didn't come up and take away that 3-point shot. Alabama got a little bit lucky there defensively.
Player down. Alabama possession.
Yep.
Alabama
Situational
basketball.
substitutions now. So for those young players, or young
Substitution in.
coaches, you can
Jonathan Lang in
see
for
Jeremy
Jake
Laddie
Schaefer.
subbing Jake Schaefer in on offense, subbing him out on defense because he's got 4 fouls, and he's putting another player who's got fouls to give in, number 24.
Foul on Brian Wolford.
5-point ball game now. Now
As
Whitewater
Wolford's
has
third.
to foul, and they can't
Team's
choose
11th.
who
It's got
they
to be
wanna
whoever
foul.
gets the ball at the inbounds. And if
What-
you're Alabama, you're going to put your best shooters up there.
Yeah. What Whitewater can
Michael
do,
Oprince
they can
again
double the
for
free
2
throw
free
shooters,
throws.
try and get it to him, but Oprince so tall.
It's hard
Tough-
to double him.
tough to double
He's
him.
tough to double. Leaves the door open a little bit. Still going to be a 2-possession
Jake
ball
Schaefer
game.
back in for
If
Jonathan
Whitewater boxes out, or even if Oprince makes the shot, it's still only a 2-possession game. This is where I love the women's rules, where you can take the timeout and advance the ball. Makes things a little easier for you offensively. We get now a timeout from Opie.
Timeout. Warhawks.
8 seconds left.
As the Warhawks
Probably a
final
good timeout. They looked a little bit disorganized.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people try to save that timeout, but if you're not going to get a good possession, that's why you call it.
You gotta use it.
It's
That's
to
his
get a
last timeout.
quality possession.
Yes.
So 5-point ball game, still a 2 or a 3.
Still a 2 or a 3.
If I'm
Quick
Alabama,
shot.
don't
Take
let
away
them have
three.
the 3. Make it the quick 2.
You will give up the 2 in this
Right.
situation.
And then it's a free throw shooter press break after that. And trade baskets.
Yep. Like we see Fishback going to take the ball out here. What Alabama's really going to have to be aware of is that pass back to Dylan coming in for that quick 3. He's not going to need to come too far in bounds with the range that he has. You see Alabama countering that by putting Cook out to not let him just roll in and get that 3.
Wolfer will probably pop out, and we'll see the pinch screen by
Over here on
Schaefer
this
and
offside.
Evans.
See Robinson trying to cheat out just a little bit there. Got a referee discussion here. About a second has been put back on the clock. We have about 9.7 seconds on the clock now.
So interesting. There's only the one post for the ball really right here, and that's Sadell. Low block.
If you're Bartley, do you front it? Front it, take away that easy post. Force that pass to have to go all the way across court.
I think you do, because you've got Oprince on the low block on the other side that can come and defend that lob piece in. So, if I'm Bartlett, that's what I'm doing. I'm not going to let that pass go in.
If he power pivots around you and gets that pass for that 2-point shot, that's what you were willing to give up anyway.
Yeah.
You didn't give up that 3.
Yeah. Playing on the inside hip. Looks like he's trying to jump that
That's
passing
what he's
lane.
trying to do. Shot's got to go up quickly. Now you got a foul. So 4 seconds left. Alabama's still up 78-73. We're going to have Oprince going to the line to try to seal the championship
Following number 42.
for the University of Alabama.
Looks like it. So,
that is his 4th.
thoughts on the game?
I think it's kind of played out the way that we talked about at the beginning, where Whitewater did a really great job initially of taking away what Alabama wanted to do to get inside. I think what Alabama conversely did was a really nice job of creating their offense in transition. And it actually came out of their good defense. And so that's where the gap came, was when Alabama was creating their offense in the full court.
Yeah, the strength of Whitewater, that 3-point shot that creates so much for their big guys getting in, was the weakness that Alabama was able to take advantage of, because there wasn't somebody else. When you hit that 3, you've got an extra couple seconds to get back in balance. When you don't take that 3, and you got to give it up to somebody else.
And that's the game.
There we are. Congratulations to the University of Alabama, back-to-back national champions in the collegiate men's
University of
division.
Alabama,
So they have a lot of
79.
seniors on their team, so
University of Alabama
I'm sure they're excited
is
about
your
being able to
men's
send their
college
seniors out on this
national
great note.
champions.
Great way for them to finish their season. You can see them celebrating on the court. You can see all the emotion coming out from all the work that they've put in.
And a close battle in a championship game.
Great game here. Great game.
Absolutely great championship game.
We saw a lot of really exceptional skill, and we saw a lot of adjustments that the
Saw some
players
great
and coaches had to
coaching.
make.
Absolutely.
So, absolutely outstanding job. So, any final thoughts before we take a break? Before
I think we just all need to catch a breath, and I
University
think
of
we're going to have another
Wisconsin,
great game
Whitewater
coming up
Warhawks are
next
your
between
second
UTA and
place
the University of Alabama for the women's
college
championship.
men's team.
So we'll be back here, folks, for a 2 o'clock tip-off
University of Alabama
for another fantastic game.
first place in
And
the college
so don't
men's
leave,
team.
because the men just set the table for the women, and I think it's going to be an
I
outstanding
feel a
afternoon.
great one coming on from the ladies.